So I just got served. It was downloaded to me that not asking for help is a trauma response. Promise you this is real-time download that I was like, oh, God, what you say? We'll discuss it. Go ahead and like and subscribe, and then I'll tell you why. So go ahead. Here I am doing my good grandbaby business. And I was like, I literally said to myself, I'm proud of me. This is pretty dope. And eventually, A, B, and C will happen. And eventually, and I kept saying the word eventually. And you know how, I don't know if that works the same with you, but when something's trying to get my attention, when the Holy Spirit is trying to get my attention, let's give him credit, Kay. He makes things like, like it almost like jumps out to me, or it kind of has a nudge to it. And I was like, eventually. Why do I keep saying eventually? It's because I believe that if you use and you're brave enough to go ahead and give out your gift, that your gift will make room for you. And I understand that my timing is not God's timing. I am clear on that, okay? We had a nice little session, me and the Lord, and I'm clear. But then he was like, so, but there was something behind me saying eventually. And so I think that I started to recline on, well, I don't, you know, I can't control people. And God was like, yeah, but you can ask. And I was like, I don't want to. I don't want to, sir. And then I had to like literally search myself. And I was like, are you like me? Do you have a hard time asking for help? Like, no, seriously, like just like between you and I, nobody else is looking. Do you have a hard time asking for help? And if your answer is yes, is it because it was your response to a certain trauma? Yo, I literally did like a pan of my life, like in my impressionable years. And I was like, people literally made me feel some kind of way for asking for help. How much you need? That feedback. You see what I'm saying? Well, I didn't have nobody help me with my math homework, so you're going to have to figure it out on your own. That feedback. So I kind of was looking at like, ooh, I remember vaguely in my impressionable 20s trying to figure out life, asking for not even a whole bunch. Because the other side of it is you try to scale back how much you ask for, who you ask. You try to make up a formula for the way in which you ask. And I remember asking for $40. I kid you not. Because I was like, you know, if I just ask for this much, I can come up with the rest. You know, I'm just a little short. This would just kind of like help. And the response from a family member, someone who should have known, been in that situation too. Instead of just gracing me with it, you know that I'm not out here in these streets. You know I don't have a particular vice. You know that your money's not going somewhere where you like never again, right? Like I literally gave, and that's the part about asking. It's almost like you got to present a case. Like, hey, listen, this, and this. And that's the part that's a little bit, because it makes you have to be vulnerable to invite someone in your business that you would not necessarily have told this information to, but because you are asking, you almost feel like you have to invite them there. So I gave the spiel. Hey, I'm switching this particular situation around, and in the midst, I seen that I'm short a little bit, and if you could just help me, I could pay you back. And the person said to me, ooh, seems like to me you need to make better choices on A, B, and C. And I was like, oh, okay. And I'll go ahead and give it. That's not even, that was the jab. Let me tell you the salt. The salt was, I'm going to deposit the money in another family member's account, and you got to ask that family member for it. Finish him. Because that's what it felt like. It was like, yo, I didn't ask that family member. So now, got to replay this in a way that looks a lot like, hey, family member said they was going to deposit in your account. Like you expanded my embarrassment. And I remember that so vaguely. Like seriously, in this moment, I'm fighting emotions because I'm like, I saw the attack in that. I see the attack in it now. And the thing about it is that once that conversation was done, I was like, yo, I will never ask for help again. You heard the danger in that? I will never ask for help again. And it's like, I'm sorry. You didn't say I'm not going to ask that family member for help. You didn't say I'm never going to ask certain people. Like sometimes people literally have the power to erase a trait from you that's not even bad. You know how I know it's not bad? What the Bible say? Ask and you shall receive. Looks to me, asking is not so bad. Yeah, but that's asking the Heavenly Father. Yeah, but God uses people to do his work. Like, I don't know if you be looking outside, but it doesn't rain money. Yeah, it's not raining certain things anymore. It's not, yeah, if money mysteriously enters your account, like, don't spend it because one of the new trainee grandbabies, they made a mistake. Do not spend it because you're going to owe it. You see what like, he's literally, I don't know if we really notice this or not, but he's doing his work through his people, for his people. And I had to literally change my perspective in that it's okay to ask for help. The Bible's not going to enter your name as the singing beggar. Yeah, they're not going to make an amendment and just be like, ooh, add her name real quick and then put beggar on the other side of that. Like, I think that's how people have made us feel. And so I literally have to reconfigure how I see this in my life. You are not a charity case. You are not embarrassing yourself. You are not like, yo, if you need help, say it. And sometimes it's not even a matter of, I need somebody to pay my bills. Sometimes it's not even as extravagant of like, oh, that's a big responsibility. We're not asking people to pay the year's worth of mortgage. It's something as simplistic as like, hey, making a post or just verbalizing it to someone. If you know anyone who is hiring, say something. I'm giving up on. You see what I'm saying? I was going to sing a song, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stay focused, okay? Like, we really need to get to, if you know anyone who's selling A, B, and C, can you, like, sometimes you got the plug in your midst and you're not even saying nothing. And the reason why I struggled with this is because I have now entered the entrepreneur lane. And God is like, I love the fact that you were brave enough to go ahead and do what I asked you to do. Hand clap of praise for the grandbaby who was obedient, and that grandbaby will be I. Okay, great. But then the extra part was now ask the people to buy. And I was like, God, I'm not doing that. You're going to have to put it on their heart to do. And he's like, but see, the thing about it is I will impress upon whoever it is that hears you asking for the help, and they will be doing my work. They will be obedient to me. And I'll give you a real life example, like no hold bar. Like seriously, last night I felt a couple of days ago, maybe about a week, I felt like God was like, I want you to help somebody else's business. And I'm like, you remember when you told me to quit the job? Or when I felt led to quit the job in it? So you're aware of the finance? Okay. I just want to make sure that your emails are like you refreshing it. You got the one that's me. Oh, okay, great. So we had that transaction, right? And so I was like, okay, so I was naming a few businesses, but I didn't feel like, oh, those were the businesses or those were the people. It's like I was naming big followings that I was aware of. And I'm like, I don't feel like they need it. And it wasn't a matter of need. It was a matter of, I know God said to help someone, but I'm trying to figure out who. And I literally came across a video and she said, literally verbatim, it is hard for me to ask for help, but I have a goal. And I want to be able to just go ahead and just ask. So, and you can even see trauma responses in the way in which someone asks. It was a lot of this hand gesture kind of thing. And if you don't have it, it's okay. And then, but you know, I want you to help. But if you can't, it was like, baby, just ask for help. And let's keep it moving. Help doesn't make you a victim. Help brings attention to the good thing that you need help with and give people the opportunity to be generous. And so immediately after looking at her video and discerning it, I was like, she was simply asking for someone to go ahead and just be a part of her Patreon and all the things that she would give. And it's almost like when you get the help, you feel like you got to overdo. And I was like, yo, I wish there was a way that I can help her and she ain't have to do nothing. Like, cause I see the heart. I was able to discern the heart behind, like, I really just want to do all these creative things, but they take money. You see what I'm saying? It was like, oh, that's the person I'm going to help. And the strangest thing that God got my attention on, it literally permeated last night and then came up this morning. It was like, you know why you felt led to go ahead and sow into her? Why? Because she asked for help. So I'm about to do the same thing. Give me a moment. Because I didn't practice this, Kat, and I need you to be gentle. Now, keep in mind, I'm an artist. I'm trying to read, because like, okay, 2, 3, 1. No, what? Well, for real, because like, it gets a little, you know. All right, so let's take it from the top. I have a podcast. I've had it for since, when did I start it? 7/25/2019. Okay, so in this particular season, it's been about 3 years, right? I have purposely chosen not to have it where it was a ad. You know how you listen to this stuff and it's like, hold on, let's break. Like, I wasn't raised on cable. Right? I was raised on Netflix to the point that when I go to other streaming platforms, it irritates me that it breaks the show that I'm watching. The only reason why I want the show to break is because I'm pressing pause to use the potty or to go get some snacks. But I don't want something coming in that more than likely I got to pause because it's an advertisement for something medical, something blah. And it's like, I don't want to do that. So because I take the podcast so seriously, Strive, STRIVE, the letter N, Inspire. It's in the bio. It's in all the links and all the stuff that's in. Just go ahead and look in the YouTube's descriptions and all that. But I chose purposely. I made a conscious decision. I'm going to have an ad-free podcast. So she's not getting paid to do any of that. But I look at that like that's my ministry. Like imagine having a commercial in church. Imagine having someone that's having a deep conversation with you and then they stop because you got a break. Now again, the YouTube thing is different. Okay, great. I think everybody's pretty much clear on how the YouTube works and that. But for me, consuming and how I want to produce the way that I consume, and I don't really want a whole bunch of ads. So I chose not to have any ads in the podcast. So I'm literally, and I have been for the last 3 years, giving out free content. I have been doing my ministry for free. So what did I do? Because I believe that in this season, God is like, collect the jars and your oil will be able to fill it, right? So I went ahead and produced a Patreon. So it's patreon.com/StriveNinspire. So that I can, and I still want to be able to deliver more things. I want to do a text and blogging community. I want to be able to do, like, there's literally some things that I have set up that actually cost money to do. Like, yo, nobody really tells you this, but like the podcast, you got to pay to have it on some type of platform that then distributes your podcast. That costs. It costs electricity to be able to do the things and whatever. Like, it costs, whether people see it or not, like there's a price behind it and you're giving it out for free. And so at some point you have to say, okay, so I'm gonna need some help in that. So I got the podcast, right? And so for the podcast, the jar that I have for the podcast is Patreon. Cool. Got that. Chink. Then I went ahead and created a merch line, which you heard my launch about because my rant about because I told you about the launch. Yeah. You already know how I feel about that. If not, look at the last video. Have a nice day. I'm not reliving that. This is enough emotion here, right? And so I went ahead and did the created to multiply. Right? And so I did it off of the fact of identity. I really feel stirred up that people are walking around not knowing what they were created to do, not knowing what God's literal plan is for their life, not their purpose, not their calling. We can go into those in different videos and different conversations. But literally, you were made to multiply. So standing and grounded in Genesis 1:27 and 28, I said, I don't want another person walking around trying to figure out why were they created. You were created to multiply. And so I went ahead and launched the merch line. And I have it on everything. And I didn't want to specify to a niche. I wanted it to be something because everyone has a purpose. Everyone has a calling. And everyone was created to multiply. So I wanted that on babies. I wanted it on pregnant women. I wanted it on women. I wanted it on little kids. I wanted it on men. I wanted it on granny and them. I wanted it in a cubicle. I want it on your computer. Like I literally have it where it's not just a t-shirt line. It's a merch line. It's magnets, it's stickers, it's all the above. Go check it out. Created to multiply, okay? .com. Created, the number 2, multiply. And so that is my other jar. And for now, those are my only 2 jars. And God is having me do some other things that's going to come out and maybe not so much ebooks. I think I'm going to go along the lines of online classes because I have a lot to share. I have a lot that God is like, I need you to get this out to the people now. And I'm like, okay, but the people are not picking up the last few things that don't worry about that. Just ask. Okay. Hey, God said to ask. You see what I'm saying? Like it can get a little, but I don't want to subscribe to that trauma anymore. Yeah, and it usually comes from the grandbabies that felt like when they were younger, they had to fend for themselves, that they had to figure it out at the most traumatic times in their lives, that they were dealing with something that it was like, man, that would have been a different outcome had someone been alongside me, leading me, speaking into life into me. You understand? And I'm a person that in order for me to be able to teach it authentically, in order for the rest of my bloodline to be able to inherit it, I need to hone it. And that's what I'm doing. This whole entire video is not only giving you pieces of my business, you better not be a gossip, but more so to let you know, like, yo, real talk, most of the things that I'm getting ready to do, God is using me as a poster child. Because I'm like, I don't see nobody really doing what I'm doing that's in my circle, but it's a beautiful thing when you can see bits and pieces in different avenues, whatever God decides to go ahead and show you. And so for this moment, I am asking for help. It will appear on the screens. I will do the things. I don't know, still figuring out all the things. Also, because you got to continue to say this because I've entered this world. Like, subscribe. Okay, if you have not done so, and all the hand gestures they do, okay, great, listen, okay. But yeah, just ask. It's a spiritual application. We can't do it by ourselves. Imagine the foot being like, we'll figure it out. Like, bro, just ask the hand to help you put the sock on. Like, you know, it's just, yeah, I wouldn't be married if he didn't ask me. That's another story. You see what I'm saying? Like you have to, when you're applying for a job, you're asking for an opportunity. I think just somewhere along the lines, someone kind of perverted and shifted the way that we look at asking for help. And I like to just say, I feel like it's not God's will for your life for you to see help and asking in that way. It's not a charity case. It's like, yo, you called, You feel like what you have can add value and purpose to somebody else's life? Like, yo, ask. Ask. Because at this very moment, I feel like we would probably be more receptive to helping people if we learned how to ask for help. I feel like a lot of us don't give people grace because I had to figure it out. Nobody was like, but why would you want to pass that along if you know what that feels like? You see what I'm saying? Like, let's make it make sense, Craig. Okay, I don't really. So yeah, this is my ask video, and if you don't do it, that's between you and the Lord. I don't want to put that out there, but kidding, but I'm so serious. Listen, it's getting ready to be dope. It's getting ready to be dope. And I'm just honored that God would trust me in this moment to carry out things that I don't feel comfortable with. But forget comfortable. I want to be obedient. The confidence will catch up. You understand? So did you do the like and the subscribe thing and all the stuff that they say? Okay, because are you sharing it to the people? Like, you know, the YouTube stuff, what they say to do. Share it, and if you like it, more people will see it, and this will help somebody else. If you feel like this will help somebody else, can you share it with them? And low key, if you feel like, sis, I ain't gonna hold you, I have a problem with asking for help too, can you put it in the comments? I don't want to be the only one getting this beating. You see what I'm saying? All right, listen, you know I'm going to go ahead and talk to you next week. We do these videos every week, I think every Thursday, right? All right. I did my part. Do yours. Later.